Hi guys, I wanted to make a video to help you work through these problems that you have. This video will go through both sets of problems, and if you don't have your periodic table and calculator out, go ahead and pause this and get them. We're in LT5.2, our mole conversion standard, and the expectation is that you can convert between mass, moles, and numbers of particles. With the particles, we're talking about those representative particles, atoms, moles, ions, and formula units. The first set of problems we need to be able to solve are those where we're going to convert mass to moles or moles to mass. Here is the mole conversion chart we're going to use. These are often referred to as mole maps, and you will have access to this when we take our assessment. Our first set of conversion problems will be focused on the left side of our conversion chart. As we solve the problems, please solve them with me so that you can get some immediate feedback and know that you are doing these correctly. When solving word math problems, we need to read it and look for two things. We need to look for information provided in the problem, and we need to identify what it is we're solving the problem for. So how many moles? The moles, this is what we are looking for. This is what we want to solve for. So I'm going to circle that. Are in 2.00 grams of water. So we always place what we're given in the upper left quadrant of our picket fence. So we'll write that here of H2O. All right, so 2 grams of water. Then we're going to see which conversion factor we need. So we have grams. So we have this information, and we're going to follow this arrow because we want the mole. So I'm going to use this conversion factor to convert grams to moles. So on the conversion factor, it shows us that we put the 1 mole at the top, and we need molar mass at the bottom. I've provided the molar mass down here, and I will continue to provide you with some examples of the molar mass already calculated for you, and then some where you will need to calculate that as you complete the practice. Okay, we have our problem set up, and we are ready to solve this. The first thing we'll do is cancel out like units. So we have grams on top and grams on bottom, so we can get rid of those. And then we would multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, and then divide. Because remember, this line right here is a multiplication line. So we would take 2.00 times 1, which just happens to be 2.00. I'm going to go ahead for this problem and do that work just so you can see what that looks like. So we would multiply across, and we got 2.00, and we're left with the mole, which is what we want, so we're doing pretty good. And if we multiply across the bottom, we're left with 1802. Now that we have multiplied, we are going to divide. Remember, this line represents a division line. So we're going to divide the 2.00 by 1802, and we will get 0.11, and then we have to include our units, and then circle your answer so that we can find it easy. If you're feeling comfortable with this, try solving the next one on your own and then watch the video to verify that you got it correct. All right, we have our next example. How many moles, that's my unknown, are in 75.6 grams? So I start with my given. I write that down here in the upper left. I need to figure out what conversion factors, so I come over to my conversion chart, and I know mass. I need to find moles, so I will use this conversion factor with the 1 mole on top. I'm going to take my molar mass and put that on the bottom. And now we are ready to solve. We're going to cross out or cancel our units that are the same, top, bottom. We would multiply across and then divide. So I have this going for us. And then when we do that division, we end up with 0.635, but we're going to round it to the second decimal place. So 0.64 moles. Okay. All right, notice that the conversion has changed. Now we're going to convert mole to mass. Now we want to know how many grams, that's our unknown, are in 0.210 moles. And so we're going to write our given, just like last time. All times, our given goes in the upper left corner. And then we're going to figure out which conversion factor we need to use. So this time, I know my moles, and I am trying to find my mass. So I'm going to use that. My molar mass now goes on top. All right, now it's set up and we're ready to solve this. First thing we're going to do is we are going to cross out and cancel our units, and then we're going to multiply across. When we do the math, that gives us 15.66 when we round it to the second decimal place, and our unit is gram. We don't have anything to divide by because there's no numbers on the bottom. Again, if you're feeling confident, try solving the next one first and then watch the video to check your work. Number 4, how many grams, this is our unknown, are in 381 moles? So my given and I am going to figure out which conversion factor. So I have moles, I need mass, so I'm using that conversion factor. Here's that molar mass. Again, some of your problems are going to give that molar mass to you, and then some of those problems on your practice assignment will ask you to calculate those. All right, so this time our molar mass is on top. Okay, now we're ready to solve. We're going to cancel our units, and multiplying across, we get 175.03, and don't forget those units. Circle your answer, and that one is complete. The second type of conversions we need to be able to solve to meet our standards expectations is that from particles to moles and from moles to particles. Using our conversion chart, we're going to focus on the right side of it this time. Don't be alarmed by this number here. Hopefully you remember and recognize this number. This is Avogadro's number. It's the number of particles in 1 mole of a substance. And we're going to allow the calculator to do these for us. So I will show you how to do that. Okay guys, here's the calculator directions for scientific notation. Just to point out a couple of things, because you have these in your notes. Make sure that you're using parentheses, because we need to make sure that the order of operations are done correctly. Also, you either will have an EE button or an EXP button on your calculator. You're just going to need to look at your calculator to figure that out. And when you enter the digits, you are going to not use the times button. You would just put in your digits, and then whatever this right here stands for times 10, and then this is the exponent. So your digits, you're going to use this to stand for times 10, and then the exponent. We'll set this up just like we did with the other set of problems. We want to know how many atoms are in 0.750 moles of zinc. So our given is in the upper left, just like with the last set we did. We need to identify what conversion factor. So we have moles. Here's atoms, that's what we need. So we're going to go from left to the right on our conversion chart, which means we're going to use this conversion factor. So the 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd goes in the upper right, but our unit is atoms, because that's what we're looking for. So we're going to be sure to write that as well. And then we're going to have 1 mole on the bottom. All right, so our question or our problem is set up, and we're ready to solve it. So the first thing we're going to do, again, is we're going to cancel our units, and then we're going to multiply across. So when you put this in the calculator, remember, we're going to put 0.750 times, open parentheses, 6.02 EE, or EXP, 23, close parentheses, and then enter. So when you do that, you're going to get this number, 4.515, but we're going to round it to the second decimal point, so it will be 4.52. And then you're going to see in your calculator display the exponent of 23. But we're using scientific notation, so what that actually means is times 10 to the 23. And then drop down the units, and we have our answer of how many atoms are in 0.750 moles. If you'd like to challenge yourself, you can pause this and try to solve this on your own, and then watch it to verify your answer. How many molecules are in 4.00 moles? So we are going to write our given, figure out which conversion factor we need. So we have moles. We need molecules, so we're using this factor, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules over 1 mole. We are ready to solve, so we cancel out our units. We get on our calculator 2.4, we're going to round to 1, times 10 to the 24 molecules. Okay. All right, for this one, we are looking for moles. And we're given 1.23 times 10 to the 50 molecules. So we put our given in the upper left. We're starting here, and we want moles, so we're going to use this factor. The 1 mole is on the top. The 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules is on bottom. Don't forget the molecules. We're going to cancel those out as we do our math, and then this time we're going to divide. We have a number on top and we have a number on bottom. Now, if there was something other than a 1 up top, we would multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom, and then divide. But that is not an issue for this problem. Using your calculator, some calculators do require the parentheses. Mine does not, so you should try if you're borrowing one of those calculators from me, you would not need to use the parentheses after all. And so you'd put in 1.23 EE50 divided by 6.02 EE23 equals. And then you're going to get this number 2.043, so we'll stop at 2.04. And then the exponent is a 26, so we'd write times 10 to the 26th. And we are left with moles as our unit. Now, I'm getting this from here, just in case I had forgotten to tell you where that information was coming from. All right, we're on our last practice problem before you can start working on your assignment. So this one is asking how many moles are in 4.57 times 10 to the 23rd atoms. So I'm given this atoms, and so I'm starting here. I'm going to go this direction, so I'm using that conversion factor, which means I'm going to be dividing again. Don't forget your unit, which is the particle. Okay, we have it set up and it is ready to solve. So we're going to cancel our units and then we're going to use our calculator and divide these numbers. When we do, we get 7.59 times 10 to the negative 11 mole. All right, you guys, it is time to do the work. Be sure you check your answers using my copy on the desk so you get your immediate feedback. And when we see each other next, we can check you off as completing it. Enjoy the rest of your day.